us. Okay, and sometimes your criticism is also called formalism. Yeah. So when you talk about formalism, then it also include new criticism actually. All right. Okay, so let's talk about what we learned from last week. Anyone would like to say something about what we learned from last week? Although we have short, talk last week, yeah? Hello? Anyone would like to repeat or maybe strengthen what we learned from last week? If not, if there is no volunteer, then I will call your name.
May I, ma'am?
Yeah, Agnes Clarissa, please.
I will probably just explain the brief of our last meeting. And so we started off with talking about intertextuality
Yes.
from the Little Women uh, work, which
Yes.
is from the novels and also the movie adaptation of Little Women. Like there were 4 movie adaptations from Little Women, and I think this one is 1933, and the newest one is in 2019. And then how intertextuality is about different texts that exist through the relation to prior literary text, and um, there is like feeding into the idea that some texts are not truly original,
Right.
or some literary works that is not truly original, and it might be created from some other literary works that has been there before. For example, like Romeo and Juliet,
Yeah.
Narnia.
Yeah.
Narnia is like a modification from Harry Potter,
Yeah.
and I think also Lion King
Yeah.
is also an intertextuality of Shakespeare's Hamlet.
Yes.
And then we move to um, how like the history about theories, the literary theories of how it first started in England,
Yeah.
and it was back in the 19th century, how literature was close to moral values, and
Yeah.
therefore it is actually, it became kind of like a substitute to religion lessons,
Mm-hmm.
and those two things, literature and religion, were things that are integrated to each other.
Mm-hmm.
And then we move to the some of the theories from Peter Berry, and I
Mm-hmm.
think Fadel has explained some of the brief explanation of the first chapter, how
Mm-hmm.
um, like from the history, it first started in Cambridge and Oxford
Yeah.
University as like a subject for
Yes.
students to learn, and then there were like the common ideas in literature theories, and also how um, like some of the
What did
theories
they
now,
learn at the time, Clarissa? What
oh, they
uh,
learn
at that
first
time? What did they
that
learn in those universities?
I think they learn first about religion,
Yeah.
and then like some of the works, and especially I think Shakespeare was the one of the icon of like literature
Yeah.
back then, and they use his works also as a moral value
Yeah.
to teach the students there,
So what was the purpose of teaching literature?
to give an insight of moral value, because it was like a part of a religion for people, and like they're like at that time, I think that most people learn the basics of religion is from like the values that they're found
Right.
in literature. So it was like probably some kind of teachings, and as I guess that also in England that their main beliefs is Christianity, and I think like that's why it's also integrated in the Bible that they read perhaps back in the days.
Yeah.
So
So religion and literature help each other, yeah, go hand in hand, yeah, to make
yes,
people better person. That's the ancient, yeah, the most ancient and the initial purpose of literature was to make them morally good, yeah. Yeah, that's why nowadays, yeah, people still stick on this uh, perspective that literature contain moral value. Although literature actually has experienced gradual and dramatic change in the purpose, but many people still use this perspective that literature is to teach moral value. This is actually the most ancient purpose of literature. We have to be aware of that, yeah, Mbak Clarissa.
yes,
Okay, so it is inherited from that time, ya. Kalau sekarang masih menganggap the purpose of literature is moral value is actually inherited from 18th century, ya. Sebetulnya gitu. Alright? Okay. So can you tell us about the teachers or the lecturers in those universities at that time, Mbak? And the students who went to those universities?
from what I remembered, I think most or like the whole part of students are male at
Yes.
that time, and that they were kind of
Women were not allowed to
like to
university.
to go to
Why do you think?
universities.
What was the thought at that time? Why only men were allowed to go to university?
I think it's because most of the men they were like I think because this is kind of have some correlation with like the religion beliefs that the men are supposed to like uh, become like a priest or like a pastor for like the religious teachings that they have back then, and they were supposed to give their whole life focused on um, teaching like moral values
Yeah.
to society.
Yeah. So moral values was seen as something sacred, right? Something holy. That's why only men were allowed to teach, right, Mbak? Yeah.
Yes.
And most of them stay in, or all of them, the teachers stay in the university, yeah, which was more like church, yeah, than university or extension of church, yeah, because they could focus their attention more on the knowledge that they share or the literature that they have to learn from the books they read. Okay, thank you so much, Agnes, Clarissa. Other people would like to strengthen what Agnes has stated, please. Come on. Maybe what happened after that? You have Morris and the principle of humanism. Okay. Can you talk about that? And the fact that those who went to university were middle class or upper class family. So what then happened to lower class society? Yeah, if you could tell about that, please. So the minister or the teachers who teach the university were sacred people only, and what we call sacred people were all men, yeah, right? And then those who go to university as students also were all men. Why? Because of the patriarchal society at that time, yeah. Those who are responsible for the family, the wife, so the wife and the children are men. That's why man has to be acknowledged to be smart, yeah. And they went to university, and learning the university means learning history, learning ancient Greek literature, yeah, learning to be good people, to be morally well, yeah, morally, you know, great, yeah. So, but there is a dispute then, yeah. How about the lower class? If they were not able or capable to pay for the university, then what about them? This is very clearly explained in Terry Eagleton, actually, The Rise of English, chapter 1 also. If you have the book, you could, read that chapter to strengthen your understanding about the rise of English. Yeah? So at that time, because only upper class and middle class people went to university, then the common people, yeah, the lower class, or yeah, the laborer, yeah, were considered Philistine. Yeah, Philistine means raw people, people who were not first well educated, were not taught morally, and therefore it's the time for them to read novel. So the emphasis on literature is even greater at that time. Yeah, the emphasis on the importance of literature to be thrown to people. Jadi, if people, lower class of the society, were not given novels or poems to read, then they will become aggressive. They will become, they will throw stones back to the monarchy, or to the, to the church. That's why the encouragement to read literature is even bigger, because of the worry that if they're not helped by literature. So the role of literature to be equal to religion is even stronger than after university was established. Jadi awalnya memang literature was studied in the university, but then if novels were only written for upper class or middle class, then the lower class will become worse. The situation will become worse, and they will become more aggressive. Raw people, they call it. Philistine are raw people. And therefore, Matthew Arnold is one who state that the importance of throwing people novels, dalam pengertian throwing itu supaya mereka baca, ya, to become better person, itu menjadi lebih stronger, ya. So the emphasis of or the call of literature to be moral material to teach people is even bigger. That's why even up to now, we still think that literature is written for wisdom or for moral purpose. Okay, so that's, I think, part of chapter 1 also, right? Okay, then what happened next? Ayo sekarang yang terusannya dari chapter 1 yang kemarin belum terlanjur kita bahas, ya. Another call of English literature was regarding emancipation. Yeah, to read literature, English literature, is to make them nationally, morally, and nationally good. Yeah, so they will be better person in moral conduct, but also better person in terms of responsibility or national responsibility, to know that becoming English or Englishmen or English people should be or should have particular characteristic. Yeah, that's why they have to read literature. Jadi literature is not only for minister but also for university students. Yeah, those who go to university, and also for common people. So the call for literature as equal to religion is even bigger. Yeah, that's the first. and not only to make them morally good, but also nationally good. Yeah. So that's how big, yeah, literature was at that time. Yeah, the role. All right. So at that time, do you think literature and language was separate or integrated? Anyone? Was it something integrated, literature and language? Like now we separate language and literature, ya. Ada linguistic, ada literature. We think that literature is separation or can be separated. What happened at that time in the 18th century English? Anyone? Come on, we should have discussion and not teaching, yeah, today. Nastiti Ika, are you here? Mbak Nastiti? Halo? Elisa Adelia? Elisa, are you here? Elisa absent or present? Mindina Dela?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Could you answer my question?
I think it's separated because on the 1829, they are only use English as a language. They only study English as a language, not using literature as the source of linguistic example.
When was it? When was it?
1829.
Yeah. I think what happened was the opposite of what you say, Mbak Mindina. So at first, language and literature was one. So when you study literature, it means that you study language at the same time, yeah, at the beginning, you know. But then there was a call, yeah, to separate language from literature. So there is a call to, you know, to study language specifically, yeah. But then there is a kind of reflection, yeah, to unite it again, yeah. Lewis is one of the, you know, father of literature who said that, oh, it should not be understood or studied separately. Jadi ada semacam pemisahan. Jadi at first it was one, but then a separation, but then come back to one, but then after that until now is a separation. Okay, it's studied separately. Although in many countries, especially the United Kingdom and its colony, yeah, like Australia, yeah, it is studied integratedly. Like in Australia and also in India, if you go to India, you study English department, and if you study in the English department, your core material is literature up until now. It's inherited from this time, yeah, when literature and language is integrated. Also in Australia, the core material of language study is literature in Australia and also New Zealand, yeah. But in many other countries like Singapore and what I know is also in Indonesia, of course, it is studied separately. Okay, so it is it has different perspective, yeah. It has different perspective. And if you go to UI or Gajah Mada University, if you dig out the history of yang sekarang disebut Fakultas Ilmu Budaya, ya, Faculty of Culture in Gadjah Mada, both Gadjah Mada and also UI. It was first literature, ya. Jadi sebelumnya itu adalah Fakultas Sastra, ya. So literature was considered almost everything good, gitu ya. So even until now, if you go and choose philosophy, ya, jadi filosofi itu filsafat itu belum dipisahkan dengan sastra yang sekarang disebut budaya. Jadi filosofi, archaeology, and then what else? History was under Faculty of Literature until 2010, I think. Yeah, and then 2010, the word literature was changed into ilmu budaya. Itu baru saja, baru 2010 kalau nggak salah kan. Nah sebelumnya itu disebut Faculty of Literature. Gadjah Mada also under Faculty of Literature were ya archaeology, anthropology, and then language of course, and also history ya. Kalau di Gadjah Mada itu sudah dipisah dengan filosofi, tapi kalau di UI itu belum. Jadi that was inherited from this time where literature was considered core, ya. Yang disebut sastra itu bukan hanya susastra, tapi core of kalau sekarang disebut humaniora or humanism. Oke? Sebetulnya literature itu namanya humanism kalau sekarang gitu loh. Jadi historically was like that. So it was not separated once and then separated and then back to integration, and then now in some countries it's separated, in some other countries it's integrated. Okay, I think you have to read in detail ya chapter 1 to understand how knowledge also has its own history ya. Jadi ada sejarahnya gitu. Oke. Jadi kenapa disebut literature review when you write your theories, when you write skripsi or you write paper, your chapter 2 is called literature review. While it is not or nothing related to literature, sastra bukan ya. Tapi literature means theories, all knowledge that you use in doing your research. So the word literature could be understood practically as something simple, but also could be understood in a huge, bigger horizon. Yeah, that's my point on early of chapter 1. Okay. All right. So the worry for lower class, ya, to be Philistine tadi sudah ya. Jadi so that they don't rebel, ya, so that they keep morally good, could be preserved, ya, morally, then they have to read novels. That's why when you examine history in English literature in England, many even common people have to read literature. So that's the positive of literature. Okay, so literature was considered having capability to cultivate the taste, ya. Jadi taste itu selera. Kalau for example, any of you might have read Pride and Prejudice or maybe watched the movie. Even those common people like Elizabeth dan saudara-saudaranya itu read literature. So what so-called good people or considered as higher in rank, ya, although not economically, ya, have good taste, itu ditandai dengan one is reading novels, ya. Dalam Little Women juga seperti itu, dalam Sense and Sensibility, kalau kamu lihat ya, coba diamati lagi, the role of literature among people, ya, is so big, ya. Jadi kalau mau pilih menantu atau pilih pacar itu yang dilihat bacaannya apa gitu, Coleridge kah atau John Donne atau siapa gitu. Kalau itu sudah bisa untuk mengatakan who are they, ya, what kind of class, ya. If you examine in detail, yeah. One is piano, yeah. If they could play piano, like in Little Woman, it indicates that he has or she has a good taste. Also, when he or she read literature. So at the end of the story, you see that in Little Women, yeah, the man that win the heart of this girl is the one who read literature. Yeah. Okay. All right. So there is a kind of debate of the knowledge component, whether literature should be separated or distinguished from language or not, ya. And then Mr. Freeman, ya, jadi yang itu mengatakan oh harus dipisah. Jadi linguistik itu kemudian berdirinya dari situ, gitu ya. Itu juga terjadi di Cambridge. And then what about I.A. Richard? Do you remember the name I.A. Richard in the chapter 2? Who is he? Who is I.A. Richard? Anyone knows about him? I think the role is very obvious. Yeah, I.A. Richard. We will talk about I.A. Richard and his thought in New Criticism, but maybe you or any of you would like to elaborate a little bit about I.A. Richard, what his argument, yeah, at that time. Zidan Aji, please. Zidan?
Yes, ma'am.
Please, could you explain who I.A. Richard and F.R. Lewis? Any of them, please. Siapa dia? Come on.
Wait, Ben. Let me open my notes.
Hang on, Mas. I'm disturbed by my headset. Okay, go ahead, Mas. Mas Zidan. Silakan Zidan. Zidan, you have not unmute your microphone, so I can't hear you.
I don't know about F.R. Lewis. He is an archetypal British liberal humanist.
Yes. What is his contribution? Come on. Can't hear you. Do you know anything at all about I.A. Richard, Mas? Mas Zidan? Who is Richard? What
The pioneer of the constructional approach.
Yeah.
Oh wait. I.A. Richard.
Mm-hmm. Come on. He's very important in chapter 1, so I believe that you know him.
Yes.
Yeah. Siapa dia? What did he introduce? You remember practical criticism?
Yes, Lewis and I.A. Richard.
Nah, gimana itu? Kamu baca apa enggak?
I did not point, ma'am.
Ya, tapi kan kalau itu kan tokoh yang penting ya, jadi harus tahu gitu. Berarti kurang baca gitu. Ya, dalam sejarah sebelum teori itu loh, teori before teori itu kan ada kontribusinya I.A. Richard yang promote close reading itu loh, Mas. Practical criticism. Kemudian ada 10 tenets of humanism. Liberal
Yeah,
humanism.
no, spontaneous feminism.
Coba kamu itu aja kalau gitu. Explain it. The 10 tenets of liberal humanism. Maybe 3 of them at least. What do you remember?
10 tenets of liberal humanism. There are first is naturally.
Apa itu maksudnya?
It means good literature is timeless significance. It means that literature have no limitation functions for it like only age, but for all age.
Okay. Timeless ya. And
Yes,
transcend
timeless.
ya, transcend. Okay. What else?
Then logical consequences. It means the text contains its own meaning
What does
within
it mean?
itself.
It contains its own meaning itu maksudnya apa?
It have
It
mempunyai
doesn't
makna.
it doesn't require any elaboration gitu. It has
Elaboration.
its own meaning in itself. Jadi dia itu sudah lengkap gitu. Every literature has its own meaning in itself. Jadi nggak perlu ditambah-tambah pakai biography of the writer, ya kayak gitu tuh nggak perlu lagi. Ya, it is self-explained. Ya, itu dapat menjelaskan dirinya sendiri. If you read, for example, tiger burning bright in the forest of the night. Yeah, from reading that poem, you could understand the meaning gitu. You don't have to import ya from any other sources ya itu. Especially biography of the writer itu mas kontennya ya. Literary text contains its own meaning within itself. Itu maksudnya itu. Okay? What else? What else, Mas?
And then detached from another context and studied in isolation.
Ya, maksudnya apa? What does it mean?
It means
we don't need to. Hampir sama dengan nomor 2 sebetulnya. We don't need to.
Oh, we don't need to see the object.
We don't need any more information from other sources like the context, historical background, biography of the writer. It's not necessary anymore, ya. Ya, Mas. It is
Then how about the close analysis?
Yeah, okay, that's number 3, right? What is number 4, Mas? What is number 4?
Human change is essential. Human nature. About human nature.
Yeah,
is unchanging.
What does it mean? Human nature is essentially unchanging. Yes, okay. What does it mean?
It means that in my notes, basic personality of human is never disappear and happen again and again throughout human history.
And therefore, what is the implication of that, Mas? Human nature is essentially unchanging. From time to time, human have love, yeah, has dignity, has responsibility, ya. So, literature apa jadinya? Itu kan baru preambulnya, Mas. Baru introduction-nya. Terus jadinya apa maksudnya gitu? Kalau human nature is essentially unchanging, it means
that itu bertahan dan berkelanjutan terus-menerus.
Oke, jadi sama terus-menerus ya. Orang yang dilahirkan tahun 1800 sama dengan orang yang dilahirkan tahun 1900 gitu kan maksudnya. Jadi terus ngopo maksudnya? Jadi sastra itu
tidak berubah.
Tidak perlu disesuaikan dengan, jadi tidak perlu misalnya literature written in 18th century itu hanya cocok is only suitable for people in the 18th century because human nature is essentially unchanging tadi gitu loh. So you could still read and find values in literature written in 18th century although you live in 20th century gitu loh Mas maksudnya. Tahu? Your passion and your grandmother's passion are similar or almost the same. That's why literature is universal in time, ya. Literature written in Shakespeare's time is still relevant to literature written or literature read in 20th century. That's the point, Mas. Do you understand or not? Jadi lintas apa itu, Mas? Lintas waktu gitu ya. Kalau yang nomor 3 lintas konteks. Jadi konteksnya itu ya tidak perlu disesuaikan gitu. Maksudnya kamu baca sejarah perang apa gitu ya, itu masih bisa relevan dengan sekarang gitu ya. Konteksnya nggak perlu dicerabut gitu maksudnya. Kalau yang nomor 4 itu lintas waktu gitu ya. Jadi yang ditulis Pride and Prejudice kamu masih menikmati nggak? Do you still enjoy? Can you enjoy Pride and Prejudice or Sense and Sensibility or Little Women or not? Mas?
Oh yes, I enjoy the Little Women.
Gitu loh. That's the meaning of number 4. Okay? Okay. Now, could you please invite one person to explain number 5, 6, and 7? Hello.
I would like to invite.
Yang belum ya, siapa?
Nurul Ilmiah.
Siapa?
Nurul Ilmiah.
Nurul Ilmiah. Oke, Mbak Nurul. Call her name, Mas. Zidan, could you call Nurul, please?
Nurul, please. I invite you to continue.
To explain.
Being
tenets.
Yes, explain.
Number 5 to.
Number 5 to number 6.
7.
Oh, 7. Okay.
Yeah. Okay, Nurul Ilmiah, please. Di wongi ra ono Mas. Nurul, are you here? Are you with us? Kalau nggak ada, ganti Mas. Dondelik ini. Siapa lagi yang nggak ada? Yang ada. Itu Nurul Ilmiah tuh sebetulnya ada loh, kelihatan orangnya, tapi sedang nggak tahu di mana tuh, tidur kali.
I'm changing to man. Kalau begitu, man.
Ya, oke. Who do you invite?
Galih Gesang Sejati.
Galih Gesang kemarin udah, kasihan dia.
Kemarin Galih Taki, mem.
Oke. Galih Gesangnya beda ya karo Galih Taki. Oke. Galih Gesang.
Ya, tes. Kedengeran nggak, Mem, suara saya?
Yes. Very clearly.
Okay, so I will try to explain what I understood of the 10 tenets, especially point 5 to 7.
Okay.
From what I remember, the 5th point is individuality. And it talks about something within each of us as an individual, which is unique. And I think there was something called as an essence in us,
Mm-hmm.
and this essence,
Mm-hmm.
if I'm not mistaken,
Yeah.
was worded as transcending our environmental influences.
Okay.
Uh,
So literature is.
Sebelum sampai situ sih, Mam, ini
Okay.
sebenarnya
Go ahead. Go ahead.
ada sedikit kontradiksi yang saya temukan dengan nomor 4 tadi, di mana human nature is essentially unchanging. Tapi
Mm-hmm.
kalau di yang poin kelima ini itu uh, individuality yang dibicarakan itu bisa berubah dan bisa berkembang gitu. Kalau nggak salah, saya memahaminya seperti itu sih dari apa yang saya baca gitu. Nah, ini yang sebenarnya bikin saya agak bingung juga antara poin nomor 4 sama 5 gitu.
Okay. So because individuality has possess uniqueness in possess unique essence, then therefore literature is also transcendent in subject gitu. Maksudnya kamu baca, if you enjoy ini, maka orang lain juga bisa menikmati itu gitu. Transcendent in subject itu maksudnya gitu. Jadi mirip-mirip tuh, tapi ditarik ke arah individual, maksudnya kayak gitu.
Oh iya ya. Oh oke. Ya. Thank you,
Number 6.
Okay. As for the number 6,
Yes.
I think it was the purpose of literature, which is essentially the enhancement of life and human values.
Mm-hmm.
And it talks about how literature criticism is necessary, and sometimes they are leaning towards something that is called a propaganda, or a literature can sometimes become a propaganda, or
About
propaganda.
About what? Propaganda about
Political interest or something,
and human
values.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Go ahead. And number 7.
Okay, as for the number 7, I think it was form and content. And
form and content, how is form and content?
I think they must be combined or something, ma'am.
Must be fused. Okay, must be fused.
Okay.
Must be integrated. Yeah. So in the past it was integrated, right? It is one language and literature, content or values, and the language. It is one. It is united. But then Richard say it should be separated. But then liberal humanism propose that it should be fused. Jadi dibalik lagi ke arah yang pertama gitu loh, ya kan? Jadi dikembalikan lagi, tidak perlu dipisah gitu. Oke, Mas?
Oke, siap.
So the one grows from the other. The content grows from the language. The language support the content gitu, Mas. Jadi linguistik dan literature itu satu gitu, maksudnya seperti itu.
Oh iya.
Okay. Kembali satu lagi ya, seperti dulu gitu. Walaupun sekarang dipisah lagi ya. Itu kan ya menurut perspektif zaman ya. So sekarang kita menganggap berpisah, tapi sebetulnya kan banyak hal yang bersinggungan nggak? Kamu merasa nggak linguistic and literature itu?
Iya, ma'am.
Yeah, okay. Thank you, Mas Galing. Okay, now could you invite another person to explain 8, 9, 10?
Okay, I would like to call Stupa.
Okay,
Stupa, are you there?
Yes. Okay, ma'am. Before I explain number 8 until 10, I will explain about a group of people who begin teaching at Cambridge, as you asked previous. So, the first one is Richard. Richard was the founder of a method of studying English.
Okay.
It made a decisive break between language and literature. And the technique called practical criticism.
Right.
This made a close study of literature by isolating the text from history and context.
Yes.
And then the second one is William Emerson. He
Mhm.
was a pupil of Richard.
Yes.
He presented his tutor with the book was published in 1930.
Right.
And
Seven
the
types of ambiguity itu ya.
yes, the seven type of ambiguity.
Mhm.
This book took the Richard method also.
Yes.
And Emerson identified 7 different types of verbal difficulty in poetry with
Right.
word analysis. And then the last one is F.R. Lewis.
Lewis, yes.
He had written his doctoral thesis on the relationship between journalism and literature.
Yes.
And Lewis and his couple, he married with Q.D. Roth, found important journal called Scrutiny,
Yes.
and produced it together. It is to extend the close reading method beyond poetry to novels and other
Right.
materials. That's all about a group of people
Yeah.
who've been teaching at Cambridge.
Yeah, very influential ya Mbak at that time ya.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
And then number 8, comparing a poet's view of an event with other more factual version.
Yes.
Maksudnya membandingkan mungkin dengan karya penulis.
Yeah.
And then the value thing in literature is the demonstrating of something rather than the explaining or say it. Saya masih kurang paham yang ini, ma'am.
Number 9.
Number 9, yeah.
Okay.
And the last one is the purpose of criticism is to interpret the text and to mediate between the text and the reader.
Yeah. Okay. Could you explain that?
Mungkin menghubungkan antara teksnya dengan pembacanya. Mungkin dengan alur pikirnya mungkin, ma'am.
Yeah, because at that time readers were not yet